Hello and welcome to Prime Business with me, Emma Davis. Tonight, the country's economic recovery is likely to be affected by uncertainties surrounding rebound of the global economy. This was captured in the latest Africa Pulse report released by the World Bank today. George Yafe has the rest of the story.
The second IMF review over how Ghana has fared under the FAND program is primarily focusing on the fiscal and monetary data ending December 2023. However, the fund is also doing some assessment on what some will call the forward-looking data when it comes to how the economy has performed in the first quarter of this year, as well as the outlook for 2024. It is for this review that has highlighted an important concern about how government is going to manage the hole that has come up as a result of not going ahead with some tax measures announced in the 2024 budget. The IMF is worried about how that could impact on the whole revenue situation by the end of this year and its impact on the budget deficit. It is for this that has occasioned that red flag, with the IMF is seeking to get some answers from government on the way forward. So for some, Ghana will pass the second review. But for some, the end of year revenue situation is a major concern for the IMF. The IMF review mission will end this Friday. The staff will then take its report to Washington, D.C., USA, and possibly go to its board in June this year. If Ghana passes this assessment, that would lead to the release of some $360 million to support the 2024 budget. This could bring the total amount of funds secured from the IMF since Ghana got the program in May last year to more than $1.5 billion.
Meanwhile, economist Dr. Edu Osu-Sarkodie is asking government to focus more on improving homegrown policies to serve as buffers against the uncertainties surrounding global economic shocks. According to him, the development of homegrown policies will minimize the potential threats that may arise as a result of uncertainties surrounding rebound of the global economy. He has been speaking to Joy Business.
There are domestic challenges. There are internal things that we can do. In as much as we don't have control over the external happenings, we can have much control over the domestic. There are challenges with power, challenges with transport fares, challenges with storage, marketing, etc. And these are internal things that we can address. Irrigation is a major concern. Agricultural production. We have our own planting for food and jobs, which is doing great. And I think that further investments in this should be taken by government so that we can ensure ourselves with food security. And I think I told George that the other day that the fight against inflation should not be left in the hands of the MPC alone or the monetary policy members alone. The fiscal side, the real sector must also play their role. So all the internal challenges, we should find a way to address them. I've mentioned power, I've mentioned transport fares, transportation in general, I've mentioned ownership of resources. China produces lithium, Ghana produces lithium. The difference is that China government owns 100% of their lithium. Ghana government owns less than 30% of our lithium, which when we started this year. So the difference is clear. The ownership of our resources, we must really come home. I think COVID taught us a lesson that we should look within. And I think the clarion call is still on us to look within, find solutions to our internal problems. We can leave the external problems, but the internal challenges, we cannot blame anybody, but find solutions to them.
Now, the Ghana Enterprises Agency, as part of moves to enhance the growth of micro, small and medium enterprises under the Big Box project, has strengthened its partnership with the Food and Drugs Authority with some equipment to aid in their operations. Speaking to journalists after the presentation, Chief Executive of the agency, Kosi Yankee Ayes, said the collaboration seeks to expand support for small businesses in cosmetic, food and medical sectors. Here's a report.
In addition to the ICT equipment, the Ghana Enterprises Agency presented a 4-wheel drive vehicle to aid in commuting officials of the FDA to get micro businesses licensed and registered across the country. The move is expected to enhance the registration process for small businesses under the Big Box project, which is being implemented by the Ghana Enterprises Agency and the MasterCard Foundation. According to the Chief Executive Officer for the GEA, Kosi Yankee Aye, the two agencies will work together to harness the potential in the Ghanaian small and medium enterprises as the engine of growth.
Down to over 100 plus people with over 1,000 products being certified. Going forward, we want to expand and extend this because, as you are aware, we have the Business in a Box project that seeks to support 250,000 people find access to work or entrepreneurship avenues. Through this intervention, we seek to do more for those who are in the food, the medical, and also soap sanitation sector. And the Food and Drugs Authority is very critical in this. In order to be able to do this, this partnership has been brought together to improve the numbers, increase the numbers, and make ourselves more accessible to the Ghanaian populace.
Chief Executive Officer for the Food and Drugs Authority, Mimi Delise Darkun, disclosed that the organization is working to have all businesses registered at their various districts without traveling to the regional capital or Accra.
The main aim was also the president has an industrialization agenda, and we wanted to be part of it. So we have an industrial support department in most of our departments, our cosmetic department and our food department in the organization. And we've been working with GEA for quite a while. And we have about 3,000, almost 4,000 of these industries that are licensed with us today. And today we are here to receive a vehicle, a printer, a projector to help us with this training and to be able to get us not just in the regions but also into the districts. They have these business advisory centers in the districts, and we want to put our national service people. This year we've taken on about 900 national service people. And what we're going to do is that we're going to put them in these advisory centers. So you don't have to come to a region. You can have an FDA rep in the advisory centers, and then that person will show you when, straight from your districts, wherever you are, you go there, you know the requirements, they do the training with you, and the facilities can be licensed quicker.
The long-standing partnership between the Ghana Enterprises Agency and the Food and Drugs Authority highlights the importance of supporting the authority and accrediting MSMEs through the Ghana Enterprises Agency and the MasterCard Foundation's Business in a Box project.
All surprised when someone with a lot of assets asks us for a bit of money. It's because not all assets are cash equivalents. To explain the types of assets, Dr. Maxwell Ampon takes us through an extension of our Easter episode of Entrepreneur in You.
Hello. Last week for our Easter episode, we discussed the current ratio and how your current ratio is a direct indication of your short-term financial health. Your current ratio is the total of your current assets divided by your current liabilities. My team had a few questions after the episode, which I thought would be important for the viewers of Entrepreneur You to understand as well. Felix, Dr. Abigail, please ask me your questions.
If somebody is supposed to pay you in a shorter period of time, and I calculate it as my current asset, and the person doesn't pay, what happens?
Good point.
Also, I'd like to know, what is the cash equivalent? And is inventory considered part of cash equivalent?
Good question. So Felix wants to know that if someone owes him and he's calculated that as part of his current assets and the person doesn't pay, what happens? Dr. Abigail also wants to know if inventory is part of cash equivalent. I think that it's important because there's a lot of people that have a lot of assets but suddenly fail to have a lot of cash. That's because an asset is something that has value, economic value, whether now or later. Current asset is an asset that can turn into cash within a short period of time, usually 1 year or up to 1 year. Your cash equivalent, on the other hand, has a shorter half-life. We're looking at things that you can turn into cash within 90 days. So if you have inventory that you can turn into cash within 90 days, that becomes a cash equivalent. If you have inventory that will take more than 3 months to sell, then that becomes a current asset, only if you can sell it within 1 year. If it goes beyond 1 year, it becomes an asset, but not a cash equivalent or a current asset. And the nose mask mania is a typical example. How many people had a lot of inventory of nose masks and were able to sell some of them within a short period of time, making them cash equivalent? If they were able to sell them in more than 3 months when the sales slowed down. I was still able to clear their inventory into sales. By the end of the year, they became current assets. Now, if you became one of those guys that had nose marks in your warehouse, plenty, but you couldn't sell, you can't term them as assets, but not cash equivalents. And to answer Felix's question about someone owing him and he putting it as a current asset, why risk it? First off, do not lend money to people that will not be able to pay you within a stipulated amount of time. And also, if you were to add it as your current asset, it means that it would improve your ratio, giving you a false idea of your financial security. So your current assets are those that you have surety, that you are very certain that you can turn into cash or cash equivalents within the 1 year period. So that is how assets are different from cash equivalents and how your inventory can fall within all these three categories. And Felix, stop lending money to people that will not pay you. Keep well.
Dr. Maxwell Ampong will be back on Thursday for more nuggets and on radio as well as all our social media platforms. That's it for tonight. I am Emma Davis. For more business news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good evening.